Hello, hello, my fellow sensitive people. It is I, Whimsy, here to deliver today's remote view. But before we get started, it would be awesome if you could like, subscribe, and share this video as we boldly march towards our next goal of 150 subscribers. So, today's remote view is kind of interesting because as I was doing my daily meditations, I meditate twice a day and I try to pick up on the energies of others. I use a technique which is called heart-centered remote viewing. It's different than classical remote viewing. This is the technique that empaths use in order to remote view. So our technique, we are a different school, similar but same but different. In the school of heart-centered remote viewing, we're very closely aligned with the teachings of Vajrayana Buddhism. We try to put ourselves in the shoes of the subject we are attempting to access information on. We become the subject. And we bounce from person to person. Say, for example, I'm trying to connect with the 47th President of the United States. I might send him love. We send love. We get into a grounded state, and then we send love to the person we're attempting to access information. And then they respond by sharing parts of themselves. I feel that the older I get, as Donald Trump, the more people are beginning to question me. When I was younger, people didn't question me, no matter how absurd or crazy the things I said were. But the older I get, the more I am questioned, and the more I have to justify what I am saying. And my first feeling when I went into this was the uh, reflecting pool, in DC, and how an Olympian has been charged with damaging the pool, even though he says he didn't damage the pool. He was just simply reached in to pull something that was floating. This energy feels to me like the emperor has no clothes. It's that point at which you can either continue to prop up the insanity because you want to be the king's favorite. So you want to be number 47's favorite. You want to be closest to the power. And because you want to be closest to the power, you will indulge the insanity. But it starts to get dangerous when people are getting sued, when people are getting arrested, when people our lives are being destroyed, simply because nobody wants to tell the emperor that he has no clothes, that it's not real. Indulging the fantasies. This is the point at which people begin to question the mental health of the 47th President of the United States. Because it's one thing for him to say things that are not true. It's another thing for him to say things that are not true, that accuse people of things that are not true, that leads to their arrest. And you're actually at a point where you're arresting people in order to indulge his crazy, charging them with felonies and hauling them off to jail, and they've got to get lawyers, and they're getting fired from their jobs, and they're in a prison or a jail somewhere facing charges, and the economic cost of defending yourself, all of that simply because this president doesn't want to admit that the reflecting pool was a disaster, that the people who were contracted to do it didn't know what they were doing, they had never done it before, etc., etc., etc. So, in order to prop up the crazy that is Donald Trump, there are all these people that are willing to do anything and everything to prop up his crazy. And that's the point at which the emperor has no clothes, and we are at a tipping point. That is what I'm trying to say. We are at a tipping point where I think we're going to start seeing a real break in the Republican Party, and people are going to begin to finally admit that this president is unfit to serve. And so I think the reflecting pool was the beginning of the end for this president, is what I'm trying to say. Yeah. All right, let's do the empath's prayer. I want to call on white light protection for myself and this community as we ask permission from Spirit to access the Akashic records. We call on our spirit guides and our good angels to be with us. Please give us the clarity and the wisdom that is needed to empower all of us on our journeys, to make the best decisions for ourselves, our families, the planet, the people we love, but also to help those that we may have strife with. And together collectively as a community, we say, Amen. As we move through these trying times, we want to know that we can protect ourselves. And in the spirit of Carl Jung, we're going into the collective energy to see what messages come through that are warnings to all of us about how we can prepare for the difficulties of the coming months. As many of you know, the jobs market, there were only, I believe, 56,000 jobs that were added. Many people have given up even trying to find a job. Many people are going back to the garden. If there's no work in the city, what do you do? If there's no work in the city, what do you do? You go to the country. If there's no work in the country, what do? You go to the city. So people traditionally will migrate to where they need to go to. The biggest threat to the future of the United States has to do with joining cults, any kind of cult, and politics can be a cult itself. America will be okay so long as we keep ourselves grounded and we don't become enamored or glorify political leaders. You know, every every political party has had corruption accusations. You know, the Swalwell debacle, you know, when nobody wanted to believe that Eric Swalwell had done something wrong. 50 people quit that worked for him. You know, he had to leave Congress because, but many people didn't want to accept it because this was the darling, and he had a great future in the Democratic Party, but he tore it all down, right? So we want to be very careful about the cultish aspects where we refuse to believe anyone in our party can do something wrong. We want to be grounded. It's very important. If we do that, we're going to be okay. Ace of Swords comes to us as the base of the matter, but be wary of the karma card of the devil. And that is addiction, codependency, worshiping idols. So we can't be cultish going forward. You know, we like Bernie Sanders, right? Because he, you know, there's a lot of good things that Bernie Sanders has talked about. Some things I don't agree with, but much of what he says I do agree with. And but I also am aware that we don't want to turn it into a cult, right? We just want to say I agree with these ideas, or we want to support ideas. So there's a caution not to do that, not to get too attached to worshiping personalities. Good news also here is the Ace of Cups. I feel that we are moving towards a time of cooperation in the United States, but these are frugal times, folks, with that Four of Pentacles crossing over the Ace of Cups. We have good love coming to us. We're sandwiched with double aces, both the base being the Ace of Swords. Ace of Swords, as you know, the Ace of Swords is based on the January 1st ice sculpture that appears at Rockefeller Center annually. Yes, there it is. Chiseled in ice, 1 year. Yes, they do those nice ice chisels. Sometimes they'll do just a sword, but different types of ice chisel. But this is an ice chisel that we're looking at here with the Ace of Swords. It is the 1 year period, often in the time of January. You can see that icy cold of the cold of the Ice of Swords, the Ace of Swords, which comes in the time of ice. So we have a 1 year period victory, suggesting that America is on an upswing over this year. And remember, the base card was an Ace of Swords, karma card, though the devil. Watch celebrity cults, you know, whether it's number 47 or somebody else. You know, you just got to be careful about that and instead keep ourselves grounded with what is this person's track record, and what are we fighting for here? Ace of Cups also came out as the base, like I said, double aces between the first and base house. And a crossing card of a Four of Pentacles would indicate that everything's going to be okay, but we do need to tighten our belts a little bit. Meditation is warranted at this time as we begin to try and work with the matrix to create a more positive energy in the matrix. We have the fourth house moving in with a Four of Swords. Go into your center and just start emanating peace and good vibes. Many of you will be starting your private businesses, your side gigs, and some of you will be writing books and working on personal projects of mastery. This is something we've talked quite a bit about on this channel, the need for all of us to do many things in this incarnation, but one of the things we're called to do is mastery, to work on ourselves and to develop ourselves. And we can see the third house is the house of mastery, so what we're sitting in. I just keep feeling like masters and experts will come in and pull the United States in a positive direction, and that all of us can collectively participate in that by all committing to master one thing. And then we collectively are committed to mastery. It's only going to put us in a positive direction. We're coming out of actually a really positive mode, positive energy moving forward. Six of Wands in the fifth house, past placement. So we're in a positive trajectory, even though it may not feel like it, and we're also moving into health and strength. It's really talking here also about us and the country getting healthy, beginning to think about not just the overall health of the country, but how we as individuals can be a part of the greater health of the country by focusing on our own self-improvement and our own betterment. Be careful about poor sleep, hormone dysregulation, alcohol and drugs, flights of fantasy, or not being grounded. Make sure you get grounded out into the earth a lot, like going and walking in the earth a lot, because Moon stands in the seventh house, and that could be that we're just confused right now. We don't know what we're going to be doing with the rest of our lives. This kind of confusion about everything that's going on. There's a judgment coming over us, which could indicate something coming that is going to be correcting past mistakes karmically. And we fear that we are going to be, almost agoraphobic, some of us afraid to go outside and mingle with the outside world because the outside world looks so darn difficult right now, particularly with that Nine of Wands and the hopes and fears. Many people may be feeling downright agoraphobic at this point. And the final outcome for us is the United States is about to be transformed with that nice death card in the final outcome. We are changing, we are evolving. We're like the caterpillar who's becoming a butterfly. And in that sense, it's quite auspicious. Remember, first house is the Ace of Cups, and the 12th house is the Death card. So there's a huge transformation over us. I feel America is entering into a time of incredible productivity. Not everybody is making stuff in China. Some people are making things at their benches by themselves, working on their own stuff, and they are not outsourcing. Remember, your third house is the Eight of Pentacles. This is the house we need to be aware of in terms of manifesting, because it would suggest entrepreneurship, personal development, writing and creating, and particularly here with that Empress card moving in as well. Very, very interesting. And the House of Opposition still stands with the Queen of Wands. Be aware that not everybody is going to be agreeing at this time. We could be seeing arguments, mischief, and mayhem as people fight amongst themselves for territory politically. So we are going to see some desperate attempts by the Democrats and Republicans. We're going to see a very aggressive, probably one of the most aggressive midterms we've seen in a while, with that Queen of Wands moving in the House of Opposition over the next couple months. Here it is, a third ace, hopes and fears, the financial future of the country. And the final outcome is Archangel Michael stands in the final outcome. He is the spy. He is there to extract information and truth. I feel that things will balance out. Many people are leaving the cities and going to the country. Many people are working from home as digital nomads. All of this is allowing us not to have to all be jumbled together in these cities looking for more affordable places to live. You know, cities that were once popular are becoming popular again. Detroit, Columbus, people are moving to Wichita. People are moving to Kansas City, Missouri. So I'm seeing a lot of people moving around and trying new things. Arkansas, one of the most beautiful states in the Union. Many people are settling in Arkansas, Iowa, North and South Dakota if you prefer cooler weather. But this idea that we are spreading out and that we are becoming more artistic and we are finding creative ways to take care of ourselves financially. The other thing that comes up a lot is the need for community, that we will be developing and cultivating community at this time, that the spiritual lesson at this time is to return to community. If people care about each other, if you know that people care about you and you care about them, and you are committed to take care of each other, then you don't have to be afraid of anything, including growing old. And so the focus here, because things are so difficult, is for us to return to community, return to the simple life, keep things frugal, but keep your dreams big. So even though we are frugal and we're living simply, your dreams are still big because you are still attached to mastery and doing the best work possible going forward. All right, I want to thank you for watching this quick video from me to you. If you need to see me for an appointment, you can contact me, Dr. Whimsy, at Booksy. And all that information is below this video. Okay, we're out of here. Be kind to all so that all will be kind to you too. God bless. Peace out. We'll see you next time, everyone. Bye.